Welcome to you all for the 2022 launch night celebrating RMIT racing and RMIT electric racing. My name is Christian and I will be your host for this evening. I'm extremely pleased to be presenting to you tonight as due to the circumstances we have been it's been a long while since we've had the opportunity to host this event, so really exciting evening ahead. First off, I would like to acknowledge the people of the Eastern Kulin Nation. I, on behalf of RMIT, would like to respectfully acknowledge the elders, past and present, on whose unceded land we host tonight's event on. Before we proceed further, I will direct you to the restrooms that can be found through the doors down on level 4. You can also, furthermore, the catering will recommence after the presentation. We would also like you to put your phones on silent, and we wanted to thank, I think it's RMITV, for the live stream this evening. They'll be hosting on channel 31. So thank you for them for presenting. They'll be sharing the live stream for those of you at home. Thank you very much, and you'll be able to see more later on. Tonight we will hear from our distinguished faculty advisors, dignified university representatives, alongside our supporters and leaders to try to give you a look behind the curtains at what we have worked on over the past few years. More importantly, tonight we will be unveiling the products of the combined efforts of our hardworking teams, sponsors and advisors. Should you have any questions, please feel free to ask the student members identifiable by the uniforms or the slick shirts, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions after presentation. With this in mind, I would like to introduce our first speaker for the evening. Please help me welcome our team faculty advisor and longtime support to the stage, Carlos Texteria.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our launch night. My name is Carlos. I am the faculty advisor for RMIT Electric Racing and a lecturer within the School of Engineering. We are here tonight to celebrate the hard work and friendship involved in building the 2 racing cars that we are going to reveal shortly. On behalf of the RMIT community, I would like to thank your attendance to this event, and I would like also to invite you to join me in congratulating the efforts of each and every person who has joined us on this journey, from the initial conceptualization to the construction and validation of tonight's cars. It isn't easy. It takes time and effort, but nevertheless, it's a highly rewarding and fun experience. This launch night is ever more important because it represents a restart. After 3 years, we find ourselves back in Story Hall, full of energy and motivation to showcase what our students have managed to produce as multidisciplinary teams of highly engaged students from diverse areas. What an achievement, I must say, these cars can come to Story Hall tonight. From what I have heard, these are the best cars ever built at RMIT. So enjoy the journey our students will take you through tonight, and join me in celebrating their efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. We appreciate your encouraging words, and on behalf of the team, I'd like to thank you and all the RMIT staff who continue to support us and our members over the years. Your aid and advice has been invaluable, and not only our cars, but also to our journey through the university as well. Continuing on, I'd like to introduce you to RMIT Electric Racing, my home team, and the team of which I am the team principal. RMIT Electric Racing was formed in 2008, and since then we have been on the venture of designing an electric system to get one of our drivers around the track in the best performing way possible. With the many years of the team, we have continued to progress from the small group taking 3 years to build to now a larger operation with our 1-year evolutionary design cycle. From the bottom of my heart, I'd like to welcome and thank you all for the effort of the team that I've been part of for the last 4 years. The work you have all been doing means a lot. I'm going to hand over to Nick now to say a few words.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nick, and I'm the 2022 team leader of RMIT Racing. I think it's fair to say that we've enjoyed another roller coaster of a year for every single student here tonight, part of both these teams. With each student gaining their feet again after the past 3 years, dealing with the fact that their teacher also exists outside of Microsoft Teams, the last-minute cancellation of comp earlier this year was a massive blow to our team's momentum and excitement to see the endless hours of work count for almost nothing. Instead of focusing on what can feel like the end of the world at the time, I'd like to focus on the guts and determination of each team member that they showed during this time, their ability to move forward from a situation we can't control. The team members here tonight are here because they feel an obligation to push themselves, dedicate their own time to improving their learning, and to share the experience with others. One second. We've built a culture of family and togetherness throughout this year, making ourselves available to other people and systems to chip in and make this possible. It's been an absolute privilege to see the team members here grow their skill, their understanding of engineering, and their ability to find a voice and be confident in the skills they've learned with the team throughout their time. This car is an expression of them, their skills, and their dedication to the team. Not to take away from the students, but we're lucky to have the support of a skilled team at RMIT to help us get to this point. We'd like to thank Dr. Moritz, who unfortunately could not be here tonight, as well as the whole of the School of Engineering, who continue to back us each year, and they see the difference that this program makes to students. Our sponsors and partners add so much to the learning of the students as they begin to dive into industry and allow us to peek into the window to see what it takes to become an engineer. They give us the tools and facilities to help create such wonderful vehicles, and they have endless patience for us to usher the learning of students in what can be a very daunting industry. The technical staff at Bundoora East Campus make countless accommodations for both teams. They deal with our students on a daily basis, and they give us the opportunity to operate and produce our vehicles in such advanced facilities. Their time and passion for this project, along with ours, makes these cars what they are. Lastly, we as a whole team, we'd love to thank Dr. Rory Gover for his dedication and commitment to the team since 2017. His impact on students reaches globally, throughout numerous industries and on every single student that's been part of these teams. The insight, leadership and learning that Rory has helped us with for so many students has helped morph the team into what it is today. I'm pretty excited for everyone here to see the car tonight for both teams. It's been an absolute ball watching everyone grow this year. I'll hand over now to Dr. Roy, who's not here with us tonight, so he'll say a few words virtually. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Rory Gover, and I am the Academic Advisor for RMIT Racing. I'm sorry I couldn't be there tonight. However, illness is one of those things that just comes around when you do not desire it. and that's the case for tonight. But I hope you all have a good evening regardless. Firstly, I'd just like to congratulate the teams on the vehicles that they've been able to produce and that are going to show up tonight. You'll all be very, very proud of yourselves, and I wish you all the luck for the testing and taking them to competition. I hope it all works out. I've been the academic advisor for RMIT Racing now for 6 years, and in each one of those 6 years I've always been able to observe that the production of these vehicles is not just solely the work of the teams, but it's the work of the teams plus a whole host of support around it that enables the production of the vehicles. So there's obviously support from the university through technical staff and academic staff. There's the support of our industry sponsors, without the support of whom we wouldn't be able to produce a large portion of these vehicles. There's also the support of our friends, family, our partners, and also the alumni of RMIT Racing. We know that students who come into Formula SAE, they're wanting to have a genuine engineering experience and really grow their capabilities. And we can really see that the students go in and do that, but we also know that that requires a deal of effort. Right? In addition to their studies, the students need to come in and spend a fair bit of time, to put it mildly sometimes, on producing these vehicles. And that is only really enabled by having a supporting network around that. So to the family, friends and partners who enable the students to be able to put in that time so that they can move towards their goals, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you on behalf of the team. And thank you from myself as well. Thank you for your support over all the years. And I hope you're able to enjoy the night as well. I think these vehicles, more than any other in RMIT's history, have been the product of the alumni just as much as they are the product of the teams here today. And that's nominally due to the impact and the influence of the pandemic. So in the years of 2020, 2021, obviously there was huge effects all around, and specific in our case for RMIT Racing and RMIT Electric Racing, really meant that the teams weren't able to produce vehicles, or when they were able to produce a vehicle, that they weren't actually able to go race it because the competition was cancelled. And these are obviously quite hampering to what the teams normally do. You usually build a vehicle and go test it at the end of each year. The teams were able to take up that challenge. They thought, okay, this is a difficult situation. What are we going to do? What the teams, the 2020 and the 2021 teams were able to do was really to focus in on how can we, when this all comes to and the students are capable, the teams are able to make vehicles for themselves again, what can we do to put those teams in the right position? And I think we've seen that the teams of 2020 and 2021 were able to invest a lot of time in giving the 2022 teams the best possible chances and the best possible information to be able to produce these vehicles. So to those teams I'd like to say thank you, and I think everyone here, the team members here, would like to say thank you for all your efforts. It's absolutely astounding what you guys were able to achieve. I will also mention that one thing I observed during those periods was the sense of community that the Formula SAE teams were able to offer to the students who are RMIT Racing, as they weren't able to come physically together in a space. They were able to come together as a community and form a community around the development of those vehicles, and that was something that was really excellent to see, and that has continued on. So to the alumni of 2020 and 2021, and also previously, thank you. Thank you for all your efforts, and thank you for supporting these team members in producing these vehicles. As I said earlier, I've been the academic advisor for RMIT Racing now for 6 years, and this is going to be my last year as the academic advisor as I move on to different challenges inside of RMIT. Formula SAE RMIT racing has been an extraordinary opportunity for myself. I feel very privileged having been involved in seeing and playing a small part in the development of so many students coming through the program. In 6 years we've had roughly 40 students each year, absolute minimum. We get a lot of students coming through, and to see the growth and development over the time has been extraordinarily satisfying professionally. Every single time I talk with one of the students, whether they be from electrical combustion, I always learn something new. Whether it's technically or interpersonally, I always learn something new from working with these students. And I have a lot to be thankful for from the various members, current and past, of RMIT Racing and RMIT Electric Racing. Thank you all very much. It's been an extremely rewarding time, challenging time, sometimes encompassing, but always incredibly satisfying. So thank you. Well, I'll leave you all there. I hope you enjoy the night. I hope you enjoy viewing the vehicles. Please get around and ask the team members some questions of the vehicles. And yeah, thank you all for your support, and I wish you the best of evenings. Cheers. Bye. Good evening.
This evening, and these cars have been coming for a long time. For some, fresh members, it's a new venture, but for a lot of you, it's a day of celebration and appreciation for what you've done. For all your time, thank you guys. After the last few years we've seen, being able to stand on this stage today in front of you, it's very special.
Today we get to take a good look back through the years and take pride in the effort every single student and member has dreamt, sketched, designed, researched, validated, proposed, forged, wired, cast, crimped, cut, grinded, spun, milled, formed, glued, bolted, riveted, and assembled, which does not work sometimes and we have to do it all again. In all seriousness, the students in these teams, as many of you know, are never home. My family definitely doesn't know that. It's not because we are wasting time going to random places, but because we are passionate. They are driven and progressive.
With this, we'd like to bring in a new chapter of what we share together, what makes us unique, by turning our focus into a whole new project. As of 2023, we'll become one as RMIT Motorsport, designing and building the future's electric cars with the unity of teams in this powerhouse of an institution.
To all the new members of these teams, past and present, who have contributed, we'd like to bring it back and draw some hands for all the sweat and tears I know you have all given. Getting close to the end of our evening, we would like to draw some attention to some of the posters and uniforms around the room with some dates on them. Today, not only marking a milestone for us individually, but also a new one collectively. Thank you. Thank you all. That'll conclude our presentation for the evening. You're welcome to stand up, have a look around, ask some questions, take some photos, and really just marvel at all the effort. So please feel free. The catering will continue outside as well, so take your time. Yeah.
Well, we've just seen the launch of the 2022 cars for Formula SAE from RMIT Racing and RMIT Racing Electric. And Kunan from the electric team is with us. And Kunan, in the last couple of years, we've seen the major advances in electric or engineering more than anything else. Tell us, how different is this car to the one that we saw last time you were up at Winton and competing?
Well, it's fair bit more powerful as a different powertrain compared to last year. It has several different design changes for the aero and also the chassis as well. Yeah, it's a fairly different car from our previous years.
So let's talk about, I understand the main difference in terms of the power unit this year. I mean, previously you had one power unit, now you've got two in the wheels. Tell us about those particular units. Where do they come from? And how did you make that design decision?
So we've moved to a new design with two in-hub motors. So this car over here is a two-wheel drive in-hub motor setup using 35 kilowatt motors, and has a motor controller that is about 30 kilowatts per motor. Yeah.
So how difficult is it? I mean, for those of us from a traditional engineering background, the difference in terms of the torque between each different side of the car as you're doing sort of all of the manoeuvring around on the track.
Yeah.
How is that all put together? That all done through software?
Yeah. So we do most of the torque requests and stuff like that through CAN and from our motor controller, and that basically just gives whatever throttle input that's given through by the driver, and that's just translated to a torque command. We don't have torque vectoring at the moment, but it is still something in development.
So is that something that you're involved in yourself? I mean, how much of this is presented, sort of, and built and designed within house, and how much of it is stuff that you've brought in and actually sort of, over the counter, as it were?
About 80 to 90% of this car was designed here, and it was hand-built by students, except for the motor control, which is a commercial drive. It is pretty much hand-built by students. The motors are also designed by students, but they also, more for technicality's sake, but they have to be manufactured out. But yeah, outsourced, yeah.
Now, you mentioned the aerodynamics. I mean, obviously, it's a very obvious part of the car.
Yep.
RMIT does have a small wind tunnel, but I understand that, what sort of, do you use that a lot, or is it now more traditionally done in CFD?
Well, we do most of our simulations in CFD, and validation usually is done on the track, either with probably yarn, I guess.
So the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, the old-fashioned way. But yeah, we don't really use the wind tunnel that much, mainly because of, I think, the constraints of how the wind tunnel works. And I don't think it can actually validate this car properly. So
it doesn't have a rolling road or anything like that in it? Yeah. And how much of that does that change in terms of aerodynamics? I mean, having the rolling road and that input of what the turning wheels actually do to the airflow, how important is that?
I'm not entirely sure. That's
you would think so. Aerodynamics is not your strong suit. So what's your role with the team?
Mainly the powertrain unit and manufacturing of some of the elements of the car.
Well, you're looking forward. I mean, it's been a break for quite some time. Were you involved in the last competition, or are you new to all of this?
Sadly, no. This is my first competition.
Well, you're certainly in for a baptism of fire, that's for sure, having done a few SAEs in the past, but it's a great experience for all of you. It's terrific to see the car here. Yeah. Good luck at Winton coming up in December, but for now, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us in pit lane.
Thank you.
Well, joining me from the internal combustion part of RMIT racing is Nav. And Nav, I understand that your speciality is the aerodynamics, and as we look at the car behind us now, there's certainly plenty of aerodynamics.
There sure is.
So tell us a bit about sort of the process. I mean, how you go through that. We spoke with the guys from the electric team, and they were saying that they did basically everything on the computer with CFD. Is that the same for your team?
That's similar for us. We start off with, we have an 18-month cycle, design cycle. We do 6 months of designing the entire vehicle, and in terms of aerodynamics, we do simulations through CFD to look at the flow patterns and see how the wheel interacts with the flow, how the aero package interacts with the flow, and how we can make everything work. And then we spend 6 to 8 months manufacturing the aero package to what's in CAD, and then we have this right here. But it's a very long hours of looking at flow simulations, doing mesh sizing, meshing, and that's pretty much how we get to it. It's long hours, big team, a lot of teamwork happens, and yes.
Of course, most people would know that the most obvious place where we see a lot of aero is, of course, Formula One. I mean, how much of what they do in Formula One now, if anything, influences what you guys do here, or is it now at the stage where both are so totally special and they're so totally sort of locked down with regulations that there's not the same sort of transfer there used to be?
Yeah, for sure. We do definitely look at F1 to give us some inspiration on how we should design an aero package. So from F1, we have taken a ground effect design, so looking at the underbody of the vehicle. That's why it's so predominant under the vehicle. But we have found that it's hard to replicate what F1 has with our FSAE vehicle due to the dimensions changes. But we try to optimize as best as we can with the vehicle dimensions and the airflow and everything.
So I've got to ask you, is porpoising a problem?
For us, surprisingly not. Actually, we haven't tried yet, so I hope it's not. But if there is, we'll definitely sort that out. And have
one thing, if you look at the car, I mean, obviously, the front you've got downforce, but we see on Formula One cars now, and we see it increasingly on Formula SAE cars as well.
Yep.
All of these other wings, all of these sort of barge boards and wings. How much of that is is contributing towards downforce? How much of it is making sure that the flow to other areas is important?
For sure. Most of our wings on the aero package actually creates downforce, and these end plates like these and the end plates on the side wings help to keep the flow within the wings themselves, so we have less drag, more downforce. But we have stuff like these front wing outer end plates that create wash out the wheel wake, so we have less effect on the rest of the aero package to get more downforce. But every component on this aero package has either they benefit the downforce in one way or another.
Okay, let's go to the back quite quickly, because this is obviously this is the big wing. Explain the design here. You've got a couple of elements there, sort of like a bi-wing. You've got four elements all up, or 5 elements all up.
Yep.
Plus, you've also got now. Are you guys running a DRS system?
We do have a manual DRS system on this rear wing. So we started off designing a 3-wing element, and we're seeing how we can optimize that the best we can. But we did find that we can add a few more wings, and we got about 15 more units of downforce out of it. But
more wings is always good.
Oh, for
if
sure.
some wings are good, more wings are better.
And then we were able to change the back two elements to get DRS to reduce drag and get some more acceleration.
Now, of course, you're still running the, dare I say it, old-fashioned internal combustion engine,
We
much
sure
loved
are.
by my generation.
Yep.
But what sort of engine is the car running, and what
we-
sort of modifications have they been made there?
Yeah, we're running a KTM LM690cc engine. We haven't done too many changes to it, but we have changed the valves on the cylinder head, and then we're also running C85 through our engine, so we're going to hopefully make some more power. And it's mostly just tuning the car to make more power and will be more efficient.
We've seen the announcement tonight that the two teams are sort of coming together finally and merging. Do you
Yep.
know what does that mean from someone in the team? I mean, is it sort of a takeover? Is it a merger? I mean, how is that going to work in the future, and what are the benefits for both teams by the merger?
For sure, it's a big step for everyone from electric and combustion, and we have been doing a lot of meetings and a lot of talking to see the best way we can come together. And it's going pretty well. We're finding the best bits of combustion, best bits of electric, and trying to combine the two to make a really good team that's a good environment for both electric and combustion, and how we can mend well together. And hopefully the car for next year, which will be made by both teams combined, will be an amazing car which combines electric and combustion, the best sides of both.
Well, good luck at Winton, as we said, to the electric side. Good luck. We're barracking for both of you here at RMITV.
Yeah.
So thank you for showing us the car and showing us the way around what you've been doing. It's a great thing to see, and I hope that you'll go well at Winton come December. But for now, thanks for joining us in pit lane.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, and thank you to all of you at home. Now, that's a special edition of Full Course Yellow. I hope you've enjoyed the live stream tonight. Remember, in Pit Lane on Channel 31, 9:30 tonight, our special guest, Courtney Prince, Porsche racer. She's, as we're speaking, she's up at Mount Panorama Bathurst, ready to compete in the Bathurst International this weekend. Now, just quickly, next week on the program, our special guest in the studio will be the CEO of Motorsport Australia, Eugene Arocca. He'll be joining us next week on In Pit Lane. So until then, thank you to everybody who's made this possible, to all the RMITV crew who have put this together very quickly, to everybody from both teams here today, from the electric and from combustion as well. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for your help. Good luck with all competitors at Formula SAE for 2022. But for now, from all of us here at RMIT Story Hall, from In Pit Lane, it's thanks for joining us and good night.